The Russian Navy has been the topic of many news stories, and in the days of the Soviet Union, at least, a part of many Cold War-era films. And Russia remains a world power, even if the geopolitical climate has changed a bit since the 1980s. Today, the Russian Navy has 148,000 active duty service members and is known for their mix of old and new tech, from Soviet-made cruisers to hyper-modern patrol ships. But what does the Russian Navy's fleet really look like now? We've put together a list of the 10 largest, most powerful, and most modern vessels in service with the Russian Navy today. Let's take a look. 1. Akula-class nuclear attack submarines. We'll start off with the oldest vessel on this list. Though certainly not the oldest vessel still in service with the Russian Navy, the Akula class of nuclear submarines is the most notable and intimidating of the older ships still in service. They were a revelation in their time, giving Western powers a shock, as intelligence has not been expected the Soviet Union to produce a submarine of the style and caliber of build for another decade. The first Akula-class submarine was built in 1983 and entered commission in 1984. That said, the most recent one, the K-335 Gepard, an Akula III, entered service in just 2001 and has since been overhauled and further modernized. The Gepard is in service with the Russian Navy's Northern Fleet at present. It's worth noting that an even more modern version of the Akula was built, but has been leased to India until 2022. Since Russia has since created newer, more modern submarine models that we'll look at a little bit later in this list, it's not unlikely the Nirpa, now Chakra, will stay in India for the long haul, and in fact Russia has signed a deal with them to deliver more Russian submarines over the course of this decade. So, with all that said, let's take a look at the Akula III's stats. The nuclear-powered attack submarine has a 13,800-ton displacement submerged. It is 372 feet long, can hold 62 with room for 31 officers, and has a 100-day endurance. The Akula III can travel up to 40 miles per hour and carries Bukta electronic support and countermeasure system for electronic warfare, noise simulation decoys, up to 40 torpedoes, caliber cruise missiles, and up to 3 surface-to-air Igla-M missiles. So, as you can see, while the base design for these vessels may be aging and some of the older models may be entering retirement, the Akula class remains an undersea force to be reckoned with. 2. Aircraft carrier Admiral Kuznetsov. Up next, we have the Russian Navy's only aircraft carrier. While the aircraft carrier as a concept carries a lot of weight in terms of naval power, and this craft therefore must be mentioned in a list like this one, this aircraft carrier in particular has a rather troubled recent history. Rather than being a symbol of naval dominance and prowess, the Kuznetsov has become a symbol of the issues of the aging portion of Russia's fleet. First commissioned in 1991 and full operational as of 1995, for the last several years, it famously traveled with a permanent tugboat escort, in case it should break down. In 2017, it was taken in by the Murmansk ship repair plant for refitting, and has since had a crane crash into it, causing serious damage. And after that, in a separate incident, further damage was caused and 2 people were killed by a fire that broke out on board during repair work. All that said, as of the most recent news, the Admiral Kuznetsov is at the Zvezdochka shipyard and the shipbuilders are predicting it will be ready for sea trials by late 2022. Should all the remaining upgrades go as planned, they are expected to rejuvenate the problem-prone aircraft carrier and extend its service life by as many as 25 additional years. When fully in service, the Kuznetsov is a formidable ship. The 4th largest class of aircraft carrier in the world, it has a 58,500-ton full-load displacement and is just over 1,000 feet long. The fully operational Kuznetsov, before any current refurbishments, could travel up to 33 miles per hour, hold a complement of up to 1,690 crew, and carry 18 Su-33 air superiority fighters, 6 MiG-29K all-purpose fighters, 4 Ka-31 and 2 Ka-27 helicopters. It was additionally armed with 6 AK-630 guns, 8 Kashtan close and weapon systems, CIWS, 12 Granite anti-ship cruise missiles, 24 8-cell 3K95 Kinzhal SAM vertical launch systems, and a UDAV-1 anti-submarine system capable of holding 60 rockets. With everything it brings in terms of tech and arms, and the prestige that comes with a large aircraft carrier, bringing the ship back online is likely to be a high priority for Russia, even though it's an older model. 3. Pyotr Veliky Battlecruiser. The Kuznetsov is the largest ship in the Russian Navy. The Kirov class of battlecruisers, comprised of the Admiral Nakhimov and Pyotr Veliky, takes the spot for second largest ships in the fleet. Both battlecruisers have a full load displacement of 28,000 tons. The Nakhimov, commissioned in 1988, is currently undergoing refitting. However, the Veliky, commissioned a decade later, is in active duty as the flagship of the Northern Fleet, so that's the ship we'll be looking at a little more closely. 827 feet long and capable of traveling 36 miles per hour using nuclear propulsion, the Veliky was built at the OJSC Baltic Shipyard, one of the oldest shipyards in Russia. It holds a complement of 727 crew, plus 18 aircrew and 15 flagstaff. It has 2 3D search radars and a vast array of sensors and processing systems for search, navigation, electronic warfare, stealth, and so on. It has a list of missiles at least as long as the Kuznetsovs, including 20 anti-ship missiles, 160 surface-to-air missiles, 4 rocket launchers, torpedoes, and 6 CIWS. And it has a small below-deck hangar holding up to 3 helicopters. Technically the largest running ship in the Russian Navy at this moment, the Pyotr Veliky is understandably armed to the teeth, a very intimidating battlecruiser. 4. Severodvinsk Yasen-class cruise missile submarine. Moving on, we come to the K-560 Severodvinsk nuclear-powered submarine. The more recent models of Russian submarine are on the smaller side, relative to some of the Soviet-era behemoths. The largest submarine in active service with the Russians, for the record, is the 48,000-ton displacement Dmitry Donskoy, commissioned in 1981. In contrast, the Severodvinsk, which was launched in 2010 and commissioned in 2013, is closer to the Gepard, or Akula 3, weighing up to 13,800 tons in submerged displacement. The Severodvinsk is the lead vessel in the new Yasen class of submarines, of which it's the only one commissioned so far, but another 2 have been built, 4 are in process, and 3 more are planned for a total of 10 in class. These nuclear-powered cruise missile submarines are intended to ultimately replace a number of the Soviet ones still in service. The Severodvinsk is 456 feet long, can travel up to 40 miles per hour, and carries a complement of up to 90 people. It uses a RIMHAT ESM-ECM Snoot Pair Surface Search Radar and has no official endurance maximum. It is statistically limited by food supply and maintenance needs before any technical requirements would bring it above water or to dock. It also has a never exceed depth of 1,804 feet, which is about a 100-foot improvement over the Akula class. And, of course, it is well armed. The new Yasen class is believed to come equipped with 8 vertical launch system silos for anti-ship, anti-submarine, and land attack cruise missiles and 8 to 10 torpedo tubes. The Yasen M, which will be class for the coming submarines after the Severodvinsk, will additionally be quieter even than their immediate predecessor thanks to a new generation of reactor. Overall, these new submarines will have many of the features and benefits of the Akula and Alpha classes on which they were based, but with some impressive modern updates. 5. Vladimir Monomakh Bory class ballistic missile submarine. Perhaps you'll notice that, with each item on this list, we inch a little closer to the most modern units sailing with the Russian Navy. The next item on our list is the nuclear-powered Vladimir Monomakh ballistic missile submarine. It is the most recent of the Bory class of 4th-generation submarines. First laid down in 2006, the Monomakh entered service in 2014 and remains in service with the Pacific Fleet. The Bory class is the largest of the modern submarines, and the Monomakh is no exception, with a full load displacement of 24,000 tons. The Bory class is a little slower, with a maximum speed of 29 miles per hour, but what it lacks in speed, it makes up for in capabilities. The Monomakh can carry a complement of 130 and is really built for one primary purpose: carrying and launching SLBMs, submarine-launched ballistic missiles. It carries 16 Pulava SLBMs, considered the future cornerstone of Russia's nuclear triad, as well as 6 RPA-2 Vyugas, Soviet-era submarine-launched, nuclear-armed anti-submarine missile systems. Along with fellow Bory-class vessel the Alexander Nevsky, it is probably the most powerful and modern arm of the Pacific Fleet today. It's also worth noting that the Russian Navy has many more Bore-class submarines planned over the coming decade, known as Project 955A or Bore-A, which are expected to be an improved and further modernized model. One such ship, the Knaz Vladimir, is already in sea trials with the Northern Fleet. 6. Yuri Ivanov-class intelligence ship. Inching ever closer to today, we turn to the Yuri Ivanov-class intelligence ships, of which 2 are presently active, the Yuri Ivanov, which joined the Northern Fleet in 2015, and the Ivan Kurs, which joined the Black Sea Fleet in 2018. These are intelligence collection ships, so their technology is more important than their size or weaponry. These boats have a 4,000-ton displacement, and they travel only a little more than 18 miles per hour. They carry light anti-aircraft weapons and are capable of holding a complement of roughly 120. However, they are unique for their high level of automation, their systems integration, and their versatility, augmented by their cruising range of as many as 8,000 miles. Primarily used for communications, Russia has plans to build at least 2 more Ivanov-class intelligence ships in the very near future. So if you're wondering what the future of Russian intelligence looks like, this is no small part of it. 7. Karakurt-class corvette. Continuing onto the 7th entry on this list of the 10 most modern, powerful, largest, and overall most intimidating ships in the Russian Navy today, we come to the Karakurt class of corvettes. The first of which, the Mytishi, entered service in 2018. The second in the class, Sovetsk, entered service in 2019. Both are currently serving with the Baltic Fleet. Another 7 Karakurt class ships have been completed and will likely be commissioned within the next year. 8 more are currently being built, toward a total of 18 planned in the coming years. These are guided missile corvettes with a relatively small 800-ton displacement. They're 220 feet long, can travel up to 35 miles per hour, and have a superstructure designed for stealth, including an integrated mast that has 4 phased array radar panels per Russian sources. They use diesel generators for propulsion, have a 2,900 mile range, and have an endurance of 15 days. In terms of armament, they're well stocked for a vessel so small, with 1 CIWS, 8 vertical launch systems sailed for anti-ship cruise missiles, and a variety of naval guns and machine guns. While they're not designed for anti-submarine warfare, it's also worth noting that all future ships, from the 3rd in the class onward, will additionally be armed with a Pantsir-M, a surface-to-air missile system that has been reconfigured for naval use. 8. Project 22160 patrol ship. When you hear patrol ship, you may think of a smaller vessel designed for communicating issues first and foremost rather than dealing with them. Well, when it comes to the Project 22160 series of patrol ships, you would be wrong. These are large patrol ships, designed for monitoring, but also protection on the sea. There are 2 Project 22160s in active service right now, the Vasily Byakov, which entered service in 2018, and the Dmitry Rogashev, which followed shortly thereafter in the spring on 2019. A 3rd has been launched and is expected to enter service in 2020, if possible, given coronavirus concerns, and 3 more are under construction, with tentative in-service dates between now and 2022. All 6 of the planned vessels are intended for deployment with the Russian Navy fleet in the Black Sea. These patrol boats are truly formidable, as their type of ship goes. They have a 1,700-ton displacement, they are 308 feet long, and carry a complement of 80. They can travel up to 35 miles per hour, and, as patrol boats, have a nice long range of 6,000 miles, with a 60-day endurance. But what makes these recent models particularly menacing is their cutting-edge tech and weaponry. They're equipped with the new TK-25 electronic warfare system, the Safura 2 opto-electronic station, positive MK radars, and their weapons include or will include going forward the 3M47 naval air defense system and the 3S90M vertical launch air defense system, a vertical launch system for caliber NK cruise missiles, 2 different grenade launcher systems, automatic and machine guns, and modular containers for torpedoes and other missile types. And in case that wasn't enough to show how these boats punch above their weight, they also have the capabilities required to accommodate a helicopter. Not too bad for a simple patrol ship. 9. Admiral Flota Sovetskogo Soyuza Gorshkov frigate. Continuing onward, we look to the Admiral Gorshkov frigate, the lead vessel in the new Gorshkov class of frigates, of which 1 is active, 2 have been completed, and a total of 15 are planned. The class, including 4 in-progress ships, are being built by the Severnaya Verft in St. Petersburg, and the Gorshkov itself entered service in 2018. A substantial frigate, the Admiral Gorshkov had a full load displacement of 5,400 tons, is 443 feet long, and holds a complement of 210. It has a maximum speed of just under 34 miles per hour, a range of 5,580 miles, and 30 days of endurance. It's much more versatile than the Soviet Nushra Shimy and Krivet class frigates the class is intended to replace, and it's equipped with much more powerful and advanced weaponry. While the older classes were designed for coastal patrols, these frigates can go on escort missions. They are able to conduct anti-submarine warfare, whereas the older classes fell too far behind technologically to successfully compete anti-submarine strikes on modern machines. And, most dauntingly, they can execute long-range strikes. These frigates carry an almost mind-boggling array of sensors, processing systems, electronic warfare systems, and traditional armaments, and they have a helipad and hangar for a helicopter. But perhaps the most noteworthy weapon that has been tested with the Gorshkov is the new 5P-42 Filan electro-optic countermeasure system, a system that uses targeted blinding beams of light delivered in a strobe-like fashion. One of the more insane weapons of the future, the 5P-42 Filan was found, in tests, not just to prevent targeting and temporarily blind or disrupt night vision, it can also suppress the capabilities of a variety of devices and systems that depend on electro-optical sight systems, and has been shown to cause dizziness, nausea, disorientation, and even hallucinations in those unlucky enough to be on the receiving end of its beams. 10. Ivan Gren class landing ship. Last, but by no means least, we come to the 10th and final entry on our list, the Ivan Gren landing ship, another ship that is the lead ship in a new class being built for the Russian Navy. First entering service in 2018, the Ivan Gren is the first of at least 4 planned ships in the class and is currently in service with the Northern Fleet. It has a 6,600-ton full-load displacement, is almost 394 feet long, can travel up to 20.5 miles per hour, and takes a complement of around 100. But these are not the features the Ivan Gren was built for. The Ivan Gren is a landing ship, so its primary function is carrying amphibious and landing craft. The Gren itself can carry up to 13 main battle tanks or 36 armored personnel carriers, plus 300 Marines on top of the ship's existing complement. It has a hangar for 2 Ka-27 or Ka-29 helicopters. And, perhaps more remarkably, the next ships in the class will be even larger and more capable, with an up to 8,000-ton displacement. Why? So they can carry Russia's Kamov Ka-52K carrier-based attack helicopters. And there you have it, those are 10 of the most remarkable vessels in service with the Russian Navy today. What do you think? Which vessels did you find particularly impressive? Any that turned out to be a disappointment? Where do you think the Russian Navy will go next in developing new seaworthy equipment? As you can see, the Russian fleet is at a crossroads and modernizing fast. What do you think the Russian Navy will look like in 10 years? Sound off in the comments to let us know your thoughts. Enjoyed this video? Give us a thumbs up down below to let us know. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and come back soon for more real information on the armed forces of today just like this.